everybody. Myself, Teshwini PG from Department of Botany, Virishava College, Bellary. Today, I am dealing with 6th semester 6.1 paper practical part. And in that, some of the genetic engineering charts and the photographs are being dealt. Okay, and here we will be seeing about the three important instruments. One is PCR and another one is autoclave and the laminar airflow. And next one is that we are dealing with the two scientists also. Coming to first thing, that is the scientist here. Okay, so this is the photograph of scientist Kary Mullis. He is the person who gave the technique of the PCR. In 1983, Kary Mullis described the technique of in vitro gene amplification and named it as a polymer chain reaction. Later on, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for his finding. So, in the examination, in the practical point of view, this particular photograph will be placed. You have to identify the scientist and you have to write few points regarding him. Okay, so Kary Bank Mullis was an American biochemist. In recognition of his invention of the polymer chain reaction technique, he shared the 1993 Nobel Prize in Chemistry with Michael Smith and was awarded the Japan Prize in the same year. Coming to the next about his particular things of the PCR techniques, how he used it. Kary Mullis is generally credited with inventing PCR in 1983. Okay, while working for Cetus Corporation in Emeryville, California, Mullis was hatching an idea to detect the point mutation. Actually, his intention was to identify and to take the particular information regarding the point mutation using Sanger type DNA sequencing, employing DNA polymerase in the presence of an oligonucleotide primer and DT-NTPS. So here what happened, he wanted to identify the type of mutation present in the Sanger type DNA sequencing, but unfortunately he has identified regarding the polymer chain reaction. As the name implies, it is a chain reaction. Okay, a small fragment of DNA section of interest needs to be identified, which serves as the template for producing the primers that initiate the reaction. Exactly which particular fragment is being chosen, the DNA present in it, what are the nucleotide bases, what are the code and the complementary strands, he wanted to identify it. So again he wanted to see even has the template for producing the primers. Which are the primers? Is it starting from the T dash end or the phi dash end? This is about the Kary Mullis. Coming to the next person, that is Alec John Jeffers. Okay, he is the person, a British geneticist who developed techniques for genetic fingerprinting and DNA profiling, which are now used worldwide in forensic sciences. He is being used in the forensic sciences, assist policy detective work as a particular wide in the forensic department it is being used. Okay, so this is how the work of the particular Johnson Jeffries was used for the police department, especially to detect which person has done the crime, who is the crime person here. They used to collect some of the samples in the particular area where the murders are taken place, and they used to collect the things of the samples, and laterly by the DNA fingerprinting they used to identify who is the culprit. So his main contribution is that discovering of DNA fingerprinting and DNA profiling, how the DNA profiling is done. Okay, DNA fingerprinting was invented in the 1984 by Professor Sir Alec Jeffries. After he realized you could detect variations in human DNA. Even he identified the variations in the human DNA in the form of these mini satellites. So DNA fingerprinting is a technique that stimulously detects lots of mini satellites in the genome to produce a pattern unique to an individual. So these satellites chromosome in the especially in the chromosome structure, in the fifth semester you have studied about that telomeres and even some of the satellite regions, isn't it, sat chromosomes. So that is very important in the DNA fingerprinting. So next, coming to the first thing, the polymer chain reaction. So as I told you before, the Kary-Mullis photography, if it is there present, you have to identify the so and so scientist and write his name, followed by the few points regarding his invention and what is the application, and even with the Alec Jeffreys also, John Jeffreys also. Okay, and coming to the this particular thing with the PCR, polymer chain reaction, as I discussed before, it was invented by the Kary-Mullis. So here the principle of PCR is very important to know. The principle of the PCR is based on the temperature variation of heating and cooling thermocyclic reaction divided into 3 steps. This is important to note that it is being divided into 3 steps here. Okay, so first one is the denaturation. First one is the denaturation. Second step is the annealing. And the third step is the extension. So here what happens? Denaturation means the DNA and the DNA becomes single stranded at a high temperature during denaturation. Means simply we can tell that denaturation indicates it is one particular double stranded DNA which is here is converted into the single stranded DNA, means the separation of the two strands are taking place here. This is the denaturation. How it will happen? The hydrogen bonds in between the sequences of the upper, that is a one of the strand and the other strand, they will start breaking. This is how they will get separated. Coming to the next one, that is annealing. In the primer binds or anneals to its exact complementary sequence or a DNA during annealing steps. So what happens, as they are getting divided, means they are getting separated, laterly the primers will go and bind to a particular exact complementary sequence on a DNA during the annealing step. So the primer provides a site for the initiation of synthesis. This is how it is happening here. See here, it is coming and joining again with the complementary sequences. And coming to the last step, that is the extension. Here we can see the tachyDNA polymerase. It is an enzyme which uses the 3' end of the primer and starts DNA synthesis by adding nucleotides to the growing DNA strand. What happens here? This is a particular thing where the tachyDNA polymerase uses the 3' end primer, okay, and starts DNA synthesizing by adding nucleotides. Here it is getting added 3' end and the 5' end. Okay, so this is how the synthesis by adding nucleotides to the growing DNA. As a developing DNA, what happens? It is going on adding. Okay, so these are the 3 important steps which are involved in the PCR and repeats for the 20 to 40 cycles, and in each cycle the DNA becomes double, means it is coming to the original position as that of the first step. So this is regarding the PCR. When the picture of the polymer chain reaction, it is labeled with the particular picture is placed, you have to identify this is the polymer chain reaction, PCR, and you have to write the principle and the steps involved in it, and who has given this polymer chain reaction, that is Kary-Mullis. Okay, so next, coming to the another instrument, that is a autoclave. So it is just simply to tell, it is like it has the function as that of the pressure cooker. Okay, so autoclave means he is here a sealed device similar to a pressure cooker that kills microorganisms using saturated steam under pressure. We are just going with the steam here, and a pressure is set there. So in an enclosed device, if we raise the pressure, the temperature at which water boils also increases, isn't it? In the cooker we have seen that. Procedure to the particular autoclave is that place the material to be sterilized inside the pressure chamber and fill the cylinder with the sufficient water. So whatever the instrument you want to sterile it before using for an experiment, you have to place it in the autoclave and fill it with the sufficient water. Close the lid and put on the electric heater. Okay, so adjust the safety valve to the required pressure. You have to adjust the particular valves, okay, outlet valve, inlet valve, and what is the pressure to be exerted there, how much time you are setting it, okay, that all should be adjusted. After the water boils, allow the steam and air mix to escape through the discharge tap till all the air has been displaced. Okay, so this can be tested by passing the steam air mixture liberated from the discharge tap into a pail of water through a connector rubber tube. So this is the setup here. Usually we can see this particular autoclave, okay, here in our biotechnology lab. Okay, when the air bubbles stop coming in the pail, it indicates that all the air has been displaced. Inside the autoclave, whatever the water we have put, it is completely filled. The air bubbles are stopped coming. Okay, air bubbles are stopped and it is converted into steam. The steam pressure rises inside, and when it reaches the desired set level, that is usually we will set the 15 lb pressure. Okay, so the safety valve opens and excess steam escapes out. Usually in the this pressure cooker also the same thing happens. Okay, it will give some of the alerts there, that is a visual will be seen. Okay, but here what happens, the 15 lb pressure is been set there, so the safety valve opens and excess steam escapes out. So from there, when the escape of the steam is taking place, count the holding period from this point of time, which is about 15 minutes is in most cases. Usually for the sterilization process we keep for the 15 minutes. Alter the holding period. After the holding period, stop the electric heat and allow the autoclave to cool. Okay, here what happened, as soon as the 15 minutes is finished, you have to switch off the electrical heater and allow the autoclave to cool down, and the pressure gauge indicates that the pressure inside is equal to the atmospheric pressure. Outside the particular this you can see here, this is a pressure gauge, it is placed. Okay, the outer atmospheric pressure and what is inside, as we put off the electrical heater, the same thing can be seen there. Okay, open the discharge tap slowly and allow the air to enter the autoclave. Open the lid of the autoclave and remove the sterilized material. See, whatever the sterilized material you want to be sterilized is kept inside, isn't it? So that you have to remove as after it is cooled. So next one, coming to laminar airflow. So this is very important in the tissue culture experiments, and even some of the inoculation process we are using this laminar airflow, which is enclosed bench designed to prevent contamination of semiconductor valves, okay, biological samples and or any particle sensitive materials. So here what happens, it is very much sensitive here, and air is drawn through a HEPA filter. Okay, you can see in the next picture here. So this is the arrangement of the laminar airflow. Yeah, this is a lid placed outside. These are the HEPA filters, HEPA. Okay, that is the HEPA filters. HEPA indicates high efficiency perforator air filters and blow in a very smooth laminar flow towards the user. So when we sit in front of it and we start the tissue culture experiment or the inoculation, when it is put on with the laminar airflow, we can see the air coming out from the small pores. Those are the HEPA filters, and even it acts as a filtrator. Even around 0.3 diameter of the particular like insects are not allowed inside. Okay, laminar airflow. Firstly, we will see about the parts of the laminar airflow. Okay, it is having the wood consists of a filter pad. Okay, and a fan, that is it is placed where the HEPA filters are there, and after that the pre-filter air has to pass the HEPA filter where contaminating fungi, bacteria, dust, etc. are removed. Here they are not allowing any of the minute organisms inside the HEPA filters. Sterile air flows into working or where you can do all your flashing work without risk of contamination. So this is how the these are the parts of the laminar airflow. Coming to the principle of laminar airflow, this provides a working area with aseptic sterile conditions. Okay, they will be aseptic in condition for the tissue culture especially, and this laminar airflow has continuous displacement of air. It provides streamlined flow of air that passes through HEFA, high efficiency particulate air filter, that removes the particulates from the air. Okay, coming to the use of the laminar airflow, it acts as a barrier, and laminar airflow is used to separate volume of air or prevent airborne contaminants. So usually when we do any experiment, we will be placing a spirit lamp inside the laminar airflow, the lid will be closed, and you will be starting the inoculation or any of the tissue culture work. Okay, so the laminar airflow hoods are used to exclude contaminants for sensitive process in science, electronics and medicine fields. So these are regarding the three important instruments which are used in the genetic engineering. Okay, so these are PCR, polymer chain reaction, autoclave and laminar airflow, and two scientists, one is a Kary Mullis and last another one is Alec John Jeffries. These are the important practical point of view. Okay, thank you.